What's up, guys? Welcome to season 2, episode 5 of SIDE CHATZ. Last week we had a really cool episode with Dilo, but this week we have a very special guest. We're very excited to have him on board. One of the reasons why I'm in the startup journey is because of this man, and he's building a whole country. So, without further ado, I want to invite Vikram. Come on in, Vikram. Let's go. What's up, Vikram?
What's up? Oh my goodness.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready to do this? I guess you've done a couple of ice baths with me before.
I have,
all right,
yeah.
All right. Without further ado, we're going to just jump in. Let's get to the side of the tubs.
All right.
Right here, just like that. Okay.
Whoa. Cold.
All right.
Yikes.
Ow. Thank you for coming to SIDE CHATZ.
I'm going to sit like this.
He's going to chill like that.
Oh my God.
All good. All right, so Vikram, since you're in a very zen position, could you tell us a bit about yourself, a bit about Draper Startup House, but most importantly, a country that you're building? Tell us about that.
Sure. So I am on a mission.
All right.
And my mission is freedom. And I feel that through the last few years that I've been investing in startups, building startup communities all around the world, meeting a lot of mentors from all over the world, it has become clear to me that the thing that I want to pursue in my life is creating as much freedom as possible for as many people as possible in the world. The reason why I'm pursuing this thesis is because I feel that freedom is the cornerstone for any progress in society. And so the more freedom you can create for individuals, the better the society becomes.
Wow.
And so that's my pursuit, is how do I do that at a level that is for the whole world. So that's the journey that I'm in. And I think that one of the ways we can do that is to create a new country.
So coming to that point, a new country, and it's called, obviously, Draper Nation.
Yes.
From what we have heard multiple times. Tell us about Draper Nation.
All right. So the general thesis is that the idea of nations and countries that we know,
okay,
physical borders, physical land, and citizenship, is relatively a new idea.
Yep.
It's actually only a few centuries old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you look at the stats, 50 years ago, there were probably around 100 countries in the world. Well, today there's close to 200.
200,
countries.
yeah, okay.
And if you go back 50 years before that, there were probably half of those, there was probably 50, 60 countries. So, and if you go back a few hundred years, there were no countries.
Yep.
They were all clans and kingdoms
yeah.
and the churches and the religions that essentially ruled over the world. There was no such thing as a country. And so the idea of having these geographical borders as we know it today is a relatively new concept. And all of those things have happened because of technology. So when we figured out how to make weapons from iron and steel, that changed the way borders were, because you could go and conquer.
Yeah.
And when those who had the mastery of ships, right? That was a technology. They were able to go and get more resources from around the world, etc., etc. So technology has been the underpinning reason for how societies and countries have developed over time. So the thesis is, in the future, countries and nations will continue to evolve because of technology. And there's probably technologies that will exist in the future that we are not aware of, which is going to shape the way we live and work. Our parents' generation, they sort of lived in a small world because they didn't have access to the world. But our generation now is a very different breed. We live here, we work there, we're born there, our kids are born here, we're married to people from different parts of the world. And so we're much more globalized and integrated. If you think about all the components of a government service, taxes, voting, titles, licenses, these all can be done digitally. So the idea of creating a country that is completely digital without physical borders is not that far-fetched when you look at it from that lens. And so I think the thesis is that we could probably create a country that's completely digital.
Wow, that's amazing. How do we become a citizen of this country?
It's very simple. You go to drapernation.com and you can get your passport. It's all on the blockchain. You get an NFT passport. It's all on chain, and we've just started. But the plan is that we're going to have a lot of government services in this new digital country, and we're going to have a sovereign wealth fund that is going to invest in all the different components of building a digital country. So essentially, we're going to be building a whole digital infrastructure from scratch, and then the central bank or the sovereign wealth fund is going to be investing in all of these companies.
Wow.
That is essentially going to build this thing.
That is awesome. Guys, so the link is right here. Be a citizen of this country that is fully digital, the first in the world, and we're very excited. So in the startup world, I mean, you're the founder of Draper Startup House. Well, I believe you've seen a lot of successes and failures in many startup journeys. That being said, from your perspective, what are a few of the telltale signs that you see in startups that could lead to a startup's failure or success?
If you look at the statistics, there's 3 or 4 reasons why startups generally fail in the early days.
Got it.
Generally, number 1 is they run out of money. So
100%.
You know, you run out of money and you can't pay people and you can't pay for things. That's generally you know, one of the reasons why startups don't end up working. That's one. Number 2 is there's a lot of internal infighting or like issues with founders and co-founders. That generally, you know, it's a breakup that happens between founders. And the third reason is people generally do it for the wrong reasons. And so when they hit a speed bump, they usually tend to give up. But I would say the main reason is probably because people are, if you're trying to do things for the wrong reasons, you don't put up with all the challenges that come up. And so that's probably the number 1 reason.
Time is the only capital that every person has, right? And that being said, in the startup journey, or at least if they are starting out in their startup journey, what do you think are the 2 best advices that you could give startups where they could invest their time in, more importantly?
Well, maybe I can share with you some of the advices that I have received that I think is helpful or might be helpful for others, which is really try to figure out what your strengths are and then double down on the things that you're really good at and find other people to do things that you may not be so good at. And that's essentially sort of like allocating your time, and you focus on the things that are your strengths. And so I would say that that's an obvious one, but it's still very relevant.
Got it. All right, focus on your strengths. Well, thank you so much, Vikram. Usually at this part of the show, we get into the tub.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I would have thought he said no, and I would have stayed up here. All right, let's do it, Vikram. Whoa. Woo. Woo. Oh my.
Okay.
All right, Vikram. We've come to the part of the show where we do this in a tradition. Basically, our last founder, Dilo, left you a question. If you had thought to have built Draper Startup House to begin with any other in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, it would definitely be Singapore. I would advise anyone who wants to explore this is come to Singapore and try to start a company here. There's so much energy in Asia, and Singapore is sort of the financial and talent hub of Asia and access to the to the wider geography and region. So starting a company here is definitely a great idea.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. All right, to end today's show, Vikram, could you or would you please leave a question for the next founder?
The question for the next founder is, if they were building or working on another company, what would that be?
All right. Okay, great question. Thank you so much, Vikram, for coming on board. Awesome.
Are you coming out? Are you staying in there? Or?
I'm going to get out. Thank you. Tune in, guys, to our next episode. Woo! Woo!